You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. Thursday, June 18th. Thank you guys for watching the show. However you're watching it, however you're taking part in the program, we do greatly appreciate it. If you're watching us live on YouTube, thank you for doing that. Make sure you have subscribed. If you have subscribed, thank you. If you have not subscribed, please do so ASAP. That helps us out a ton as well. And tell all your friends about what we're doing each and every weekday at 10 a.m. Right here in the Quad Cities. We're also live on X. X has been very, very good to us as well. Stay interactive with the show. There's a great chat going on YouTube that the everydayers are always chatting in, and then everybody stops by, asks questions. Some really good guests today, so ask some questions. Give me some complaints, all those kind of things work out just great. So make sure you're staying interactive with the show as well. We're also streaming live on the WHO Plus streaming app. The first hour of the show is on in Central Iowa every single day. We love that. We're excited about that. Nearly a year with WHO and Nexstar and the great people there. So it's been a bunch of fun. So we thank you guys for watching. And also we have the podcasting platforms as well. I tell you guys all the time, don't watch me, don't look at me. You can listen to the show and not have to look. So you can go to Spotify, iHeart, Podbean, Apple, wherever you get your podcast, put it Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, and listen to the show each and every day as well. Good shows so far this week. Tuesday, Pat Anger was on the show, Mike Hagley, and much more. Yesterday, we talked with Tom Kakert. We also talked with Will Carius. Really enjoyed that. Great catching up with Will Carius, former Pleasant Valley standout, doing great things playing professional basketball over in Greece now as he continues to go up level by level and playing at one of the top levels in all of pro ball. So great interview with him. Go check it out if you missed that as well. And a good show today, the last show of the week. We have no show tomorrow. And, of course, the Guy Randazzo Memorial Golf Outing is coming up this Saturday as well. So we'll talk about that in a second. Today's show, excited about it. In a matter of moments, we'll be chatting with Kyle Huesmann, who will be teeing it up at the Guy Randazzo Memorial Golf Outing coming up on Saturday with they've started workouts for the women's basketball team. We're going to look ahead a little bit at what this year's group will look like, a little bit of recruiting as well, and who knows what else with Kyle Huesmann coming up in just a little bit. Also coming up later in hour number 1, some news yesterday from the world of college softball that affected a young lady right here, Kendra Lewis, a former freshman first team Big Ten freshman first teamer, also All-American as a freshman, had a really good sophomore season as well. Kendra Lewis transferring from Wisconsin to Oklahoma State. Made that announcement yesterday. Kendra will join us on the show here in just a little bit. We'll talk about the move to Stillwater, Oklahoma. We'll also talk about her days at Rockridge. Always fun to talk about the dynasty that was when it came to that group and the amount of games they won in a row. So Kendra Lewis coming up in a little bit as well. And then also 2 weeks from right now, we will be at Deer Run and the John Deere Classic. We'll be at the Stonehouse in Andrew Lehman's office for round 1 of the John Deere Classic. We will have tournament director Andrew Lehman joining us in hour number 2 of the show as well. So a very busy Thursday, a lot of content to get you so that you guys can get into the weekend. I will be taking a 3-day weekend and enjoying the Guy Randazzo Memorial Golf Outing. I want to talk about that real fast before we get to Kyle. The event is Saturday. We have 2 openings. We have another team tell us they're not available. So 2 openings, we'll take them this late. 34 teams is outstanding. We consider a full event 32. So we're doing good, really good. But if you want to get out and join us, go to GuyRandazzoGolf.com. We also have a silent auction up right now at GuyRandazzoGolf.com. We want to thank everyone who's already gotten involved. Some great items, some great things that we have that you can get right now. Love this. Cooper's going to be at the outing, but Cooper Koch signed Gator Chomp. We have that up for grabs. We also have a full-size basketball signed by this year's Iowa basketball team. Excited about that. Next week, some guy named Bennett Sturts is going to get drafted. A really cool picture from the Florida game of Bennett Sturts signed as well. We have 4 tickets to any Iowa game for the men next year and a locker room tour at halftime. That is up for grabs right now as well. Also, the women's basketball program, really, really good to us. 4 tickets to any game next year, 4 shirts. You can see them right there. 4 Iowa mugs as well. A great package from the Iowa women. And then a Luca Garza signed a commemorative shirt as well. And last but not least, when you got some guy named Kirk Farron signing a football for you, all is right with the world. So again, head to GuyRandazzoGolf.com, click auction, and you can check out the items. You can bid right now on the online silent auction for the Guy Randazzo Memorial Golf Outing. And if you like to golf, you got about 24 hours. Get in there, get signed up, and join us for a great cause and a great time coming up on Saturday. It's supposed to be beautiful, absolutely beautiful weather as well. And it always is when James Zahara is joining us on the golf course. That always helps to be friends with the weather guys. That helps out a ton. So we'll hope to see as many of you guys on Saturday as we can, of course. We'll start our coverage of today's show with a little Iowa women's basketball and a guy who's a familiar face at the Guy Randazzo. Those are some pretty good packages, Kyle. I don't want to brag, but I do have to thank the University of Iowa and everyone that's helped me out up there. Pretty good stuff, especially those 4 tickets to a pretty good basketball team next year for the women.
Yeah, I think those are some pretty good things that people can bid on, and certainly the pictures from the Iowa Florida game to have we've talked about it before. That moment is probably one of the better ones in the last couple of decades for Iowa men's basketball. So to have a piece of that with either Cooper or Bennett, that's super cool. And then obviously the women's basketball tickets, they're gonna, like you said, they're gonna be good next year. UCLA, USC, they both come to Iowa City, so certainly a chance to potentially see a good game if you were able to win that.
Absolutely. The women's basketball team back on campus, rocking and rolling. Workouts have started. It's busy this time of year when it comes to kind of seeing now what they have, because, and I guess the media will get to know 3 times this summer. You'll get into practice and take a glimpse at what Iowa women's basketball might look like next year. When you get to go into those, what will you be looking for? What will you, I know you probably have a checklist of interesting things you want to keep an eye on. What are the first and foremost at the top of your mind when it comes to this year's team and what you're interested in, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, we can talk about individual players in a second, but I think the biggest thing for me that I want to see, and it's going to be kind of hard for me to see because I don't think they're going to be showing us. They're not going to be like the times in practice we're going to see. We're not going to see them getting up and down the court and scrimmaging and things like that. Probably, right. We'll maybe see a little bit of live stuff, but I think the biggest thing that is happening this summer is trying to get the chemistry with this team on the court. I'm not talking about the culture and the chemistry off the court. That's always been great with Iowa women's basketball, and I think they pulled in some great players. With McKenna and Ella as the 2 freshmen, but then the transfers as well. Players that are going to mix well with the current players on the team. So I think the culture is going to be great, but I think it's the chemistry on the court. People look at the transfer, the people that are coming from the transfer portal, and obviously McKenna's the headlining freshman, and everybody's like, this team's gonna be great. They've got all the talent. Yeah, the coaching staff did a great job of assembling the talent. They went out and they got Danny Carnegie, who is a player that I think fits really well with what Iowa has. They went in and got Amari Whiting, who's going to come in and kind of fill a leadership role, fill that Kylie Feuerbach type role on the defensive end. McKenna's coming in and is allowing them to move back up to the 4-out-1 in offense. So the talent's there, but now it's a matter of You've got 6 players on this team this year, this 11-player roster. 6 of them weren't on the team last year. So it's a matter of getting out this summer and just kind of getting on the court and playing with each other and kind of figuring out how all the pieces fit together. We feel like we have a good idea on what the starting lineup might be, but Danny Carnegie comes in. Yeah, she's played with Chit Chat. And Danny Carnegie's great, and Ava Heiden's great, for example. But Danny doesn't just step on the court and start, throwing dimes to Ava Heiden in transition and hitting her on passes in the half. Like, you've got to learn. Okay, yeah. I've never played with Ava Heiden before. How does this kind of work out? What is her game? And Ava's got to learn. What does Danny do in terms of passing, things like all these players. It's not just Danny and Ava; it's all the players that are new on this team, kind of mixing with some of the new ones or the old players, the returning players. Just figuring out how all these pieces fit together. And you look back like a couple of years ago, that the Caitlin team, the first year they made the Final Four, that was the 3rd year that they had that starting 5. And you could see every year that they were together and had that same starting 5. You could just tell every year, like, okay, this team they know exactly what's going on. And you could see it by like Caitlin's passing as those years went on. It was obvious. It's like, I've played a million games with these players. I know exactly who's going to be where and what situation, and those players knew to look for passes. It's getting that type of chemistry on the court with this team when you've got so many new players. So I think that's the overarching, the team thing right now in the summer.
Absolutely. Kyle Huesmann joining us on Off There with Matt Randazzo. Kyle, we're going to keep talking women's basketball, but I have some breaking news. So I just happened to glance down, and I got to use my readers. You're going to make fun of me about these things? They make me look old. But
no.
An email out from the University of Iowa, men's basketball wise, but we're going to talk to you about it a little bit. You can kind of do your best Tom Kakert if you want. I don't know if you're creepy enough, but
am I supposed to have this I haven't checked my email.
No, I knew about this for the last several weeks.
I see it. All right, I see it.
But
I've
I've done a good job keeping this a secret. The University of Iowa will play a neutral site game against Alabama on December 21st at the Casey Center in Des Moines. The university announced today. Ben McCullum says these neutral site games create a unique opportunity to play marquee opponents while bringing Hawkeye basketball directly to our fans across the state. We're thrilled to have multiple opportunities to play in-state during the 2026-2027 season, starting with our return to the Casey Center. And then I'm not going to read the rest of it, combining with all the, but obviously that's so we have the women in Sioux City and we have the men now playing in Des Moines. I guess it's a really good basketball program in Alabama, a neutral site game in Des Moines. Your thoughts, Kyle?
Yeah, I think that's a huge game, and you mentioned the women as well. The women getting UConn. Obviously, UConn's not a neutral site game, but they get Vanderbilt and Sioux City, and now the men have got Creighton and Alabama both in Des Moines. I think there's going to be a certain section of the fans that kind of scoff at it and say, "Well, you're not going to play these games at Carver." We talked about this with the women. You don't just call up Alabama and say you want to come to Carver. They're going to say, first off, they might say no. Second off, they might say, well, you got to come to Tuscaloosa, and sometimes teams don't want to do that, especially in the era of the portal. I mean, Alabama's a good program. They're probably going to continue to be good with the head coach they have, whose name is escaping me at the
Nate
moment.
Oates.
Yes, correct. With Nate Oates, as long as he stays there, that's going to be a really good basketball program. But in the transfer portal era, sometimes you don't know year to year. Alabama might be good this year, but if they lose a bunch of players to the portal or to the draft, you might not know year to year. So I think a lot of times teams like to play these one-off games because Alabama's going to be good this next year. You get it in a neutral site, and then next year maybe you bring in a new team. But you're not calling up Alabama. You're not calling up Creighton and saying, hey, you want to come to Carver Hawkeye Arena? The women aren't calling up Vanderbilt and saying, you want to come to Carver Hawkeye Arena without, other things that come with it. But I think you can do that in Des Moines. Creighton can bring some fans from Omaha, and Alabama's open to coming to Des Moines as well. And I think these neutral site games are huge to get those opportunities that maybe you wouldn't be able to get, and especially if they're not going to play in a Thanksgiving tournament. If they, I know Tom's kind of talked about it, that he feels like teams might start to go away from some of those. I think he mentioned on our message board the other day that Iowa maybe had a chance to go to Maui a couple of years ago, but decided against it just because from a cost standpoint. So if you're going to go away from playing these Thanksgiving tournaments, the way to get some of these big games is going to be at neutral sites, and that's what they're doing with Alabama. That's a huge game.
Yeah, you look at it too, Kyle, and I think there is a relationship with Ben McCullum and Nate Oates. I believe they're friends, so that kind of obviously helps. But you're looking to get more of these, and I guess maybe if you're an Iowa fan that's a season ticket holder, you're a little frustrated because that'd be a fun game to watch at Carver Hawkeye, but it brings the product around the state. We talked about it last time you were on, maybe 2 times ago you were on, obviously with the women playing in Sioux City. Boy, it'd be nice to see the women or the men play here, in the Quad Cities once again. And I think we talked about it then. That's things that they'll want to do more of. And I don't know if you're going to get home and homes where Iowa wants the UConn Iowa going there and then UConn actually coming to Carver. Don't you think that's probably against the norm? I think there's going to be a lot of these, but it's usually a neutral site. Or do you think you'll have more home and homes?
Certainly on the men's, I would say on the men's side, that's going to be pretty shocking if you see those high level. Like I would have been shocked if it was Iowa, Alabama, home and home. That's just the men's side kind of doesn't really do that. I mean, there's here and there you see some home and homes, but a lot of times it's, hey, let's, like what are Michigan? Is it Michigan and Duke are playing in like Washington D.C. or where are they playing at? There's games like that where it'll be huge games, but they're at neutral sites because neither team wants to go to the other teams. When those teams are top 10, top 20 teams, no one wants to go on the road to that packed environment or whatever. So I think on the men's side, you see a lot more of that neutral side. I think on the women's side, you'll see a little bit more. But again, you saw I was playing Vanderbilt in Sioux City. And again, I think, if you go away from some of these Thanksgiving things or some of these other events that maybe you have to pay to go to, obviously, the Players Era is the one that is paying, and I think there's probably a couple others that do. But if you're going to go away from the events where you have to pay to go there and stuff like that, you're not losing home games. I was not losing a home game by playing Alabama in Des Moines or playing Creighton in Des Moines because they're probably going to play a Thanksgiving. It might be different dates. It's not going to be around Thanksgiving, but you were going to probably go to Thanksgiving. Like last year, they played in Thanksgiving. They played two games in Palm Springs, and those are games that aren't home games. So if you replace Palm Springs with Alabama and Creighton, people see Des Moines and they, it's not a home game, but they're just in place of those Thanksgiving games. Iowa plays in the Big Ten. It's not like they're nobody's walking into Carver in conference play. You got Iowa State coming in too. So I get it, because some of the non-conference games and for the men are going to be not very good at home. But it's Big Ten. Of all the teams that come in conference play, there's going to be like one or two that you're like, that team's not great. Otherwise, it's going to be a bunch of really, really good basketball teams. But I think they're doing a really good job with the scheduling so far to get some of these high level games.
No, absolutely. Kyle and I'll look at it too as well. When it comes to last year, I know there was frustration with the schedule. I remember talking with Coach Sash, and I know they had what they had, but they were trying to line up a Marquette, I think, that fell through, and they wanted a few more marquee games, obviously, in their first year, and now. And you remember late in the season with Iowa men's basketball, it was, yes, they have a pretty good resume, but they don't have that signature victory. They didn't have a lot of opportunities outside the conference. They eventually got to the NCAA tournament. We know the rest is history, Sweet 16, Elite 8. But I don't think they're going to have to worry about that this year, which is a very good thing. So again, we didn't
read far enough in this email. Iowa's playing in Mobile against Alabama next year.
Okay, so it is kind of a home and home.
It's a yes, sort of. It's like two neutral site games. I do think, and Tom would probably be the better one to talk about this with, I do think some of these neutral site games give an opportunity for, I don't know if it's whoever sets up the game. I think players get money out of it maybe.
Okay.
I don't, that's probably something that Tom would have to talk about you with. But I think the neutral site games give an opportunity for the players to make some money out of it as well. I don't know if that's whoever's setting up the event. So maybe that's why they're doing that. But yes, it says played in Mobile. A date has not been finalized for next season. So it's a 2-game neutral series.
Yeah, and it's neutral, but obviously with the neutral being heavily favored to go to one of the teams, and Des Moines will be a great crowd. But and then you look at the fact too that I think this team will be pretty good, and I know there's excitement in Des Moines as well. So I think it capitalizes on that excitement as well. Again, the breaking news, a little breaking news: Alabama, Iowa, neutral series starting this year in Des Moines on December 21st at the Casey Center in Des Moines. So Des Moines, Iowa fans and people watching on the WHO streaming app should be excited. The Hawkeyes are coming to Des Moines. Let's get back from the men to the women. We talked about the way it'll look and getting some chemistry, and probably this offseason is really important for that. Give me your thoughts when it comes to new faces, because we've talked a lot about them. I know that McKenna Velichko will be wearing number 20, wearing the Kate Martin number 20. I thought that was a cool story that you kind of had and talked about this week as well. Impact-wise, what players are you, like you said, we're not going to get to see a ton, but we want to see some of these players in an Iowa uniform and what they look like coming up this summer.
Yeah, I think that when you look at maybe not the full team, like I said, getting up and down the court, scrimmaging type stuff, but I think when you start watching some of the drills that they do, and they do some live stuff, I think that's where you can kind of look at specific players and kind of get an idea of how they're looking just a little bit. Again, you're not making full evaluations of them or things like that, but just kind of see how some players are progressing. In terms of, you mentioned newcomers, I think McKenna's near the top of the list, certainly, just because of her versatility at the forward position. And that's kind of what Iowa's been missing in years past. And, Hannah Silke, great basketball player, had a fantastic career at Iowa, but just didn't kind of give them what they needed from a versatility standpoint to run that 4-out 1-in offense. So I'm interested to see McKenna, just because we're going to be seeing her next week. I think it's next Thursday is when we get to see, and that's, the second week of practice, and they're not practicing every day. So it's going to be very early in McKenna's time at Iowa. Just kind of see how she's going. And if we do get to see some live stuff, just how does she fit in some of those situations? Obviously Danny Carnegie and Amari Whiting. Now, I don't know if Danny will be there. I'm interested to see, because she made the USA 3-on-3 team to play in whatever tournament is coming up. So I don't remember if she's going to be there next week or not. But we'll get to see her at some point this summer. And certainly she was the big addition. Obviously the one that I think kind of fits in the best from an on-the-court chemistry, because she's played with Chit Chat right before. Played with her as a freshman at Georgia Tech. So I think that was, we've talked about that before. I think that was a big thing to have that and just make her integration a little bit easier. And then you've got Amari Whiting, who is kind of the other big impact transfer. And the thing about Amari, she comes in, she started every game in her career, played at BYU, played at Oklahoma State. She's got 97 starts to her name. Now, there's a lot of players on this Iowa team that have flipped from the younger side as freshmen, sophomores. So now there's a lot of juniors on this team. Chit Chat's a junior. Taylor Stremmel's a junior. Ava Hayden's a junior. There's a lot of players on this team that have all of a sudden, they're upperclassmen. So they've got that experience. But Amari Whiting has been at a couple of schools. She's been in a lot of different games, a lot of different situations. I feel like just has that extra level of veteran leadership. And again, I haven't spoken to her in person. I haven't, watched her play in person before, but just kind of talking to her a little bit when I got a chance to talk to her on the phone, kind of it has exactly what you would expect out of like a coach's kid. Her mom coached at BYU. That's why she went there for her first couple of years of her college career. It very much has that coach's, mindset of the leadership side of things and understanding that you have to earn your role, things like that. We've talked about it before. There's 4 players on this team that have started in the backcourt before with Danny and Chit Chat and Taylor Stremmel and Amari Whiting. So someone's going to get left out of that list, but Amari, at least when I talked to her, had a very good mindset of, hey, I've got to go earn my spot. I'm not just going to walk in and start. None of that was guaranteed. But I also think that type of player, that coach's kid, that good high IQ, which I think Taylor Stremmel has as well. But to have a second player alongside Taylor that maybe has had an extra year of that experience, has been through a few more situations, has been a starter where Taylor still hasn't started quite as much. I think Amari Whiting is almost going to be similar to like maybe a Connor McCaffrey, who I know people have differing opinions about, but what he had when he was at Iowa was you could tell all the time, like, yeah, that's Fran McCaffrey's son, because he was very much another coach on the court. I think Amari is going to give that extra level of, she knows how things work in the college basketball with not only having that experience, but being the daughter of a coach. And in terms of returning players, obviously, all of them, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of strides they're making. But Layla Hayes is probably the one that I'm kind of focused in on a little bit, just to see what strides she makes. Certainly Ava Hayden is going to be the starter, and I think she's going to be an All-American. She's going to be a preseason All-American, I would think, and I think she'll finish as an All-American. But, last year we saw the second half of the season when Ava was in foul trouble or when she took breaks, they turned to Hannah Stolke a lot more in the second half of the year in Big Ten play and certainly into postseason play. And now Hannah Stolke's gone. So it's going to be Layla Hayes in those situations. And that means Layla has to make some strides with her game. And I think we saw flashes last year, particularly in non-conference play against some, maybe not necessarily lesser opponents, but not Big Ten opponents. You saw the flashes of her ability. And it's a matter of now taking what you did against those non-conference opponents last year and make some strides with your game, get a little bit quicker, get a little bit strong, get a little bit more refined with some of your post moves, and make sure that you can be that backup center, which she wasn't necessarily in that position last year during Big Ten play. And I think she's certainly capable. I think she has a ton of potential and has the potential to be a really solid backup center. And she gives a good change up from Ava Hayden, because Ava Hayden's more of, I wouldn't call her a post forward necessarily, but maybe athleticism wise, speed wise, ability to run the floor, maybe more of that post forward type. And whereas Layla Hayes is more that traditional center, back to the basket, a little bit stronger, gives a little bit more muscle down there. And I think, if Layla gets to the point where she can be a true backup center, I think Iowa has 2 really good pieces where you can mix and match in certain situations and say, okay, we feel like we need a little bit more muscle in this situation. We can get Layla in there. Certainly Ava's going to play a lot of the minutes, but if Layla can be a true backup center, that I don't know that there's probably a better 1-2 in the Big Ten and probably in the country in terms of being able to put Layla and Ava out there with what Ava's going to be able to do. So there's a lot of things to watch, and there'll be storylines that pop up as we go. But really excited to get to talk to all the players this summer and just kind of hear some of the returning players, what their thoughts are on how things have been going, and then certainly the newcomers to get to know some of them, and what their experience has been like over the first couple of weeks. And I think our last practice that we get to watch is all the way at the end of July, so they're really spread out where we'll be able to kind of get different thoughts as the summer goes on, and that'll be great to see.
A couple more before I let you go. One current stuff, one maybe future stuff with recruiting. If anyone didn't listen to the Jan Jensen podcast that you and Tommy did on the Hawkeye Report a couple weeks ago, go do that. One thing that stood out to me was she glowed about Taylor Stremlo, and we talked a little bit about on this show, but you just mentioned her several times when you were speaking. Is that the breakout candidate this year when it comes to taking that next step forward? Really, really high words and high praise from Coach Jensen about Taylor Stremlo, and it wasn't like she had to think about it. Like, you guys asked the question, and she was like, Taylor Stremlo has been awesome. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. So last summer I wrote an article about, here are 3 players I think could have breakout seasons this next season, and I can't remember. I think I had Chit Chat on there, and I will say I got that right. I think I got that one right. I think I had Ava Hayden on there, which was kind of an obvious one.
Yeah.
I can't remember who I had as the third one. You talk about breakout players. I don't know that there's like a true, like what people would say is like a true breakout candidate. Like Chit Chat averaged like 7-8 points at Georgia Tech, and all of a sudden she was averaged 13-14 at Iowa. And certainly Ava made a massive jump from not playing that much as a freshman their sophomore year. That's what people think of in terms of breakout players. I don't know that this roster really has a player that's going to do that, because you brought in Danny Carnegie, who's already very proven. You brought in Amari Whiting, who's already very proven in her college career. Chit Chat already had a breakout season. Is she going to break out a ton more? Probably not. I mean, it might get better, but maybe not from a production standpoint. So there's a lot of players that I'm not sure they're going to maybe break out from a production standpoint, but I think Taylor Stremlo is probably one that maybe just an extra level above, what they did last year. And I think Taylor was maybe almost took a little bit of that jump at the end of last year when she got a chance to start. They played really well with her in the starting lineup the last, 13, 14 games of the season. But the interesting thing will be, I don't know that she starts. I think she could be coming off the bench because of what Amari Whiting brings in terms of being that kind of new defensive stopper. You need her in the starting lineup. It's the same argument that I made with Kylie Feuerbach throughout her career when people said that she shouldn't be starting. You need that defensive stopper that's going to be on that other team's best guard. You need them in the lineup from the opening tip, because you can't allow that other's best guard to get going early because they've got, maybe not your best defender on them. So I think we'll see Taylor come off the bench, but I think certainly you saw her step up her game last year throughout the season, but particularly towards the end of the season. So that'll be interesting to see how she fits that role. But I think she can come in, she can play point guard, she can come in, she can play, certainly if she's going to shoot around 40% from 3, she can play the 2, she can play the shooting guard position, she can play that small forward position as well. And I think that gives them a lot of versatility with her being able to play all those guard spots. But I think, certainly Layla Hayes would probably be in that conversation if she went from kind of what she was last year to being a true bona fide backup center in the Big Ten. I think you would consider that to be somewhat of a breakout season. It's just interesting because there's not a player on this roster that I would say, oh, that's the player that's going to go from, averaging 5 a game to averaging like 12 a game. I don't think there's a player like that on this roster, but I think there's players that you'll see potentially raise their play at another level.
It's exciting for Iowa fans to think if a Taylor Stremlo and a Journey Houston and Layla Hayes are coming off the bench for you at the University of Iowa, you probably got a pretty good roster. I know people are still worried. Kyle, I haven't even looked at the chat, but probably people are worried that they don't have enough players. They don't have 13, 14, and 15, but I think they're going to be okay. Big picture. A couple little quick recruiting things. There's a couple visits planned. I know an offer handed out or given out to Jaliana Guy, a very, very good, very talented young player at Clinton High School who was committed to Stanford and now has opened up her commitment. I guess we'll start with her and then other visits that might be coming up for the University of Iowa when it comes to the recruiting game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Jaliana because she initially committed to Stanford. I thought she committed early, not anything in particular about her or anything, her recruitment in particular, but when you see a player commit that early, it's always interesting to say, are they going to stay committed for, I think, based on when she committed, it would have been like 3 years or something.
Yeah.
You're going to stick committed for 3 years. I thought that was pretty early to commit and kind of decide that maybe you were done. So she reopens her recruitment. It's really kind of blossomed. I mean, she's gotten a lot of high level offers. I don't have the list of them from me. UCLA, USC were certainly in there. So it'll be interesting to see where her recruitment goes. Certainly, if she has a good summer, which is, probably about half over now, if she continues to have a good summer in the AAU circuit with, I can't remember who she plays with, but could certainly get some more offers and potentially have her recruitment blossom even more. So it'll be interesting to see what role Iowa plays. I know that I believe when Iowa initially recruited her before she committed to Stanford, I can't remember who was. I think she's going to have a new person like kind of being her primary recruiter. So that'll be interesting to see who takes over that lead role in her recruitment. Just kind of how how they go about going after her, especially if her recruitment blossoms. Does she kind of turn into one of those that maybe goes towards a high-level ACC or like a UConn, or do they jump in there? With UCLA and USC are certainly high-level programs. So that'll be interesting to see how her recruitment goes. And then you mentioned a couple of more closer future ones. Maya Wilson, who is a 4-star recruit out of Minnesota, recently took an official visit to Iowa. She has not necessarily cut down and done like a finalist list, but she's got offers from TCU, Iowa State, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Illinois, Ohio State, and she's got a bunch of others in there as well. So someone that plays, I think she's 6'1", plays kind of a shooting guard position, but certainly has a little bit of height to her game. She was recently I think in the last week or two, for an official visit. So that's a 2027 recruit. Obviously, they already have Jada Soibert in as a commit. And then the next one, who I'm trying to pull up here right now, I just mentioned the other day, a 4-star forward out of, I believe, Nebraska maybe, Addison Medic. She doesn't have a finalist list either, but it's offers from Nebraska, Illinois, Miami, Kansas, Utah, Missouri, Creighton. So some pretty good programs in there. She's going to be visiting for an official visit at the end of the month. So we'll see how this 27 class goes. It's been a little bit quiet. Just haven't seen a ton because you see obviously now a couple of official visits lined up, but no finalist lists out of it that have been kind of released or anything like that. So kind of hard to follow where their recruitment is going. But the 27 class in general is really interesting because of this whole 5-for-5 ruling. How does that kind of play out? Because you got Amari Whiting who's a senior. You got Bria Medina who's a senior. That potentially if the 5-for-5 goes through, do you tell them if Amari Whiting wants to come back for another year? Presumably she's going to be a really good player for Iowa. We've just talked about her experience, her IQ, her leadership. Is that a player that you say, well, we don't want you or something like that? We don't need a 60 year for you. Like, I feel like that's not a player that you say no to if she wants to come back. And how does that kind of change what you might want to do? It's going to be tough because right now you're trying to make decisions. Who do we want to fill in this 27 class? They just had someone visit for an official visit. They got someone at the end of the month that's coming in for an official visit. So it's kind of one of those that you're trying to figure out, well, is this 5-for-5 going to pass? How do we kind of fill out this 27 class? What are we going to do if we get a couple of commits and all of a sudden the 5-for-5 passes? Do you go with a bigger roster of 13 or 14? I don't know. So I would not want to be in their position right now of trying to figure out how do you fill out this class, and then what is going to happen with maybe some people on the roster right now. But certainly a couple of good players that have come in. One has come in and another coming in at the end of the month. We're going to start seeing as the summer starts to turn to early fall is when we're going to start probably seeing some decisions being made and maybe another official visit or two. Like I said, I'm really interested to see what they decide to do and just decide to go after in this class, just because it is a little up in the air with what could happen.
Absolutely. Kyle, appreciate all the knowledge. I'm really excited to watch Dennis. Can you do me a favor? Every par 3 that he tees up at, can you just record it on your phone? Because he's going to make it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like call you on the course and let you know what's going on. I'm not going on.
But just get video. I mean, it's going to happen again. And this year I'll have a trophy for him or something ready for him because
why can't I get a hole in one or Bailey or Tom? Why does that have to be Dennis again?
Because you're not Dennis. Dennis is the best golfer in the history of the world. I mean, right? That's you make a hole in one.
I've never seen anyone get a hole in one before except him. So
that's great. There you go. That's all the proof you need. So, hey, I'll see you Saturday, buddy. Always appreciate your time. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
All right. That is Kyle Huesmann from the Hawkeye Report. Talking a lot of women's basketball. A little breaking news that we had, and I just happened to glance down and actually be able to read without my readers. But the Iowa Hawkeye men's team will be having a neutral site series with Alabama. The first game coming up this upcoming season. It'll happen in Des Moines, December 21st at the Casey Center in Des Moines, 4 days before Christmas. That'll be exciting, and then they'll return the trip to Mobile, Alabama, the following year when Iowa takes on Alabama down there. So we talked a little bit about that, and then, of course, a lot of Iowa women's basketball as well. We're excited about the season, and we mentioned it at the start with Kyle, but if you're watching because you love the Iowa women's basketball, you can go to GuyRandazzoGolf.com right now. This is up in our silent auction. It is a package that includes 4 tickets to any game next year. Iowa women's basketball shirts, 4 of them, and then of course the mugs that you see above as well. So a really cool package from the Iowa women's basketball program. We appreciate them. Bailey Turner, who will also be at the Guy Randazzo Memorial Golf Outing coming up on Wednesday, and several others at the University of Iowa for helping us out with the silent auction this year as well. We are just getting started. It's a very busy Thursday here on OTA. Coming up after the break, we'll be joined by former Wisconsin softball standout and now Oklahoma State softball standout, Kendra Lewis, former Rockridge standout as well. That and much more as we work our way through a Thursday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. It was a fantastic softball season. High school-wise, always fun, of course, on the Illinois side of the river. The ladies in Iowa just getting started, getting rolling right now. College-wise, great as well. Taylor Panel, Texas Tech going to the national championship game. And we've also had several other local standouts do good things, do big things, and that includes Rockridge standout Kendra Lewis. Had another great year at Wisconsin and then has now found a new home in the world of college softball. We're joined now by Kendra Lewis right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Kendra, thank you for doing this, young lady. I'm sorry it's virtual. Last year you made the trip to the beautiful set. Technical difficulty has us doing it this way, but I always appreciate you stopping by. How are you?
Yes, thanks for having me. It's always great. I'm good.
Good. Well, you have a new home. I guess before we start with Oklahoma State and the new home, take me through this process. Obviously, this is nothing new in college sports. It happens a lot. Take me through the transfer process. When did you decide that maybe you needed a new fit or a new home?
Yeah, I decided to go into the transfer portal, and I told Coach Healy after our season, I just kind of felt that it was kind of time for a change, something new. I loved Coach Healy at Wisconsin and the coaching staff, so it was a hard decision to make, but I was kind of ready for a new team with some new energy. So
absolutely. And you look at it, Kendra, and you go to the portal. I mean, I don't know what it is because I've never been in the portal. We hear about this portal. What was it like? What was it like going to the portal? Obviously, you found a home and rather quickly, I believe. Your thought, what was the portal like getting in and the attention, once again, that you probably received?
Yeah, getting into the portal, was actually not as crazy as I thought it was going to be. The only crazy part ended up being in Hawaii, so that was a huge time difference, but ended up working out. I mean, who's can complain about being in Hawaii? So,
Exactly.
I think I was really, really fortunate to be able to plan some things out, have really, really understanding coaches contact me through the portal, and, with even a lot of flexibility with flights and everything else, and, understanding that I was in Hawaii, and it definitely was not as stressful as I imagined, because, again, being kind of through college and understanding what everything's kind of about, I felt like made it a lot less, I don't even know, a lot easier, I would say.
Absolutely. Kendra, I started thinking back to your recruiting process at high school. And I think it was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was Wisconsin rather quickly. And it was, so did it remind you of, everyone says to me, like, the transfer portal's like this speed dating where you had to kind of like go fast and figure it out. But it seems like you made a quicker and a great decision. Can you compare it to high school? And was it like high school once again, where you're getting offers and interest and people wanting to have your services for softball for the next couple seasons?
Yeah, I think similar to high school and going to Wisconsin, I think I made this decision rather quickly because, again, like, I went to both campuses and I was like, wow, like, I could totally see myself being here with this coaching staff and, loving this town as a whole, not just at the softball field, because, again, like, that's going to be life. You're not just going there for softball, you're getting a degree. So I think that's what makes my decision pretty quick. I feel like I made it with my gut. I'm like, you know what? I totally loved it here. What's going to be better? So I think that's kind of a similarity kind of thing. The coaching staffs at both schools were amazing. I mean, Coach G at OSU is awesome. I mean, you can't ask for a better person, let alone a softball coach. So, yeah, I think what's different about it was, again, having this kind of experience of what I'm looking for and, like, what to expect, the questions to ask, what their goals are with me. And, that in that sense, that's what made it a little less stressful for me.
No, absolutely. Kendra Lewis joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. It is Oklahoma State where you're heading to play softball. You kind of mentioned it some, but take us through what made it fit. Was it right when you got there? Could you tell right away? And what are the things, both you mentioned on, but off the field as well? All of that kind of stuff is important, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, going into it, you're a little bit nervous. I've never even played them. I knew obviously their legacy of a program. So you're like, oh man, like, you never know what kind of coaching staff or anything you're going to get into. So honestly, as soon as I even got in the car with them, they started talking with me, even just making like just normal conversations. And they're like, they're just normal people. Like, they're awesome. And like, our personalities, all of the coaches and I's personalities kind of matched up. They're really energetic and, had the same enthusiasm for winning. And then we kind of took around campus, and I was like, kind of got like that small town, like hometown, like feel. Like, it definitely was not as big as Madison. And I personally love that. I was like, he's like, our community is so involved with how our softball team does and what they do. So you'll definitely be able to feel that come springtime, how involved everybody is with Oklahoma State softball. And I'm like, that is something I want to be a part of.
Yeah, you look at, and their record as well. I think 41-17 last year. It's a successful program, 16-8 in the Big 12. You come from a lot of winning. I don't know if people remember, but y'all won like 1 million state championships in high school. How exciting is that? Because you're going to, you mentioned the smaller campus, kind of like maybe you're a Rockridge or an Edgington town-wise. I mean, obviously it's bigger than that, but a smaller community. And then you look at the winning ways. Is that something that intrigues you as well? Because you've known a lot of winning in your lifetime, young lady.
Oh yeah, who doesn't love winning? So, yeah, that was something that was really cool to see, and it kind of like settled in when we were walking around. He's showing us all of everything that they have there, and you walk into the facility, and it has all of the teams that went to Oklahoma City, and it's like, wow, like, I want to be the next one on that wall. And after talking with them, I'm like, this really could happen. Everybody dreams about it as a kid, but like, kind of sets in a reality. Like, yeah, like, this team's gonna be special, and we're gonna make a good run.
Absolutely. Kendra, I remember last year we chatted, obviously a fantastic freshman year, solid sophomore year to follow it up. How have you developed and grown in college softball for 2 years? We watch you do so many great things at Rockridge, but you obviously have to continue to grow and get better. Where have you seen yourself maybe improve and grow on the softball field?
Yeah, I mean, college is such a big change from even travel ball, high school ball, anything, because everybody there is good. So it's supposed to be challenging, and that's what I think what is like, a lot of people struggle with. You're like, man, like this is hard. Like you play a sport of failure, and then on top of that, like all these other girls are awesome too. So I think honestly the like transition point between that was like realizing like you're there for a reason. You are good. Like you're supposed to fail. This is a sport of failure. I mean, if you fail less than others, that's great. So I think just even realizing that and being a little less hard on yourself and even myself as like I'm like, wow, like they're supposed to be good pitching to me. They want me to get out. Like
Yeah.
I think realizing that really helps me keep going. I mean, especially after freshman year. I mean, it was a great year, and there's a target on everybody's back, even at Wisconsin after that. So I think learning how to move on from things was really, really important for me.
Absolutely. Kendra Lewis, newest softball member of the Oklahoma State softball team, joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. When you go through a process like this, who are you leaning on? Who are you talking to? Obviously, family. I know your family is very close with you and vice versa, and I'm sure you talked with them. What was that process like? And I know you have a great support system, and that probably made this process a little easier as well, too.
Yeah, absolutely. My parents are awesome. Like they've supported me in every single step of the way. My mom in Hawaii is like being my little like writing down everything and really helping me out, even giving me a little space. She gets really stressed, but she is nothing but helpful. But my daddy is always there, the one to like reassure me everything's gonna work out. Like you're good. Like my dad is awesome. So I can't thank my parents enough for everything that they've even done up to this point, let alone through the transfer portal. And I think I do have like other connections. Like I have reached out to Coach John Nelson a little bit through this portal and like asked for his advice a little bit, get his input. So he has been really amazing. And then I have another Coach John through my travel ball organization that I played for, Lady Lightning Gold through North Carolina. He has been nothing but awesome. Like he is a person I leaned on through this, and he knows all these college coaches. And I'm like, just give me your opinion. He's been great. So I've had a lot of outlets.
Is it, and you can tell me because you're on in that level, but for old guys like me, like transferring is still a different thing. But like if you look at college sports, it's what happens, it's what's done. Is it more commonplace? Was it easier? You kind of talked about it a little bit being easy, but like this is nothing new. Thousands of athletes do this every year. Did you kind of find that to be the case where this process isn't new to too many people? It's pretty smooth on both sides, if that makes any sense?
Absolutely. I mean, I know my experience at Oklahoma State. I mean, they knew exactly what to do. They even asked me some questions like for our next recruits, like what did you like? What didn't you like? Like, I mean, I think that speaks for itself. Like, again, they're comfortable enough with me to ask these questions for the next people. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, this is, again, it's not uncommon for people to go in the transfer portal and pick up some amazing recruits. So, yeah, if you want to go get them, go get them. Like, I'm going to absolutely help you. So I think these college coaches have understood and kind of like almost molded around that, because again, who doesn't want an awesome player to come in for the transfer portal that has a little bit of experience as well?
No, absolutely. Kendra, what was, you make the decision. Is it a sigh of relief? Is it kind of, a little weight taken off? Did you celebrate it all? I wanted to say, do you take a trip to Hawaii, but you've already been to Hawaii, so I don't know how much more you celebrate, but what was it like making that decision? You made the Oklahoma State shirt with glitter on it. We can't see the glitter, but there's definitely glitter there.
Shirt.
What was obviously it's a little celebration, a little relief. What was it like?
Yeah, it definitely was like a celebration moment for all of my family. I got a bunch of texts from them, my parents and I. Up to that point, it's like a little stressful, you're like, you want to make the right decision. You want to, see all of your options. And honestly, up to then, I think this is why I made such a quick decision, because I kind of knew, like I was kind of guided towards Oklahoma State. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm not going to get better than this. The coaching staff, the atmosphere, the softball around that, they have a culture of winning. And I really do love that. And not just that, they have a coaching staff is very family oriented. Like it was something I'm like, I don't think I'm going to get better than that. So why shouldn't I just pull the trigger and make the decision? And after that, me and my parents were very, very happy. And I have sparkly boots, so hopefully I'll get new sparkly boots. So
There you go.
yeah.
It's a little longer of a trip for mom and dad, though. Are they okay with that? Like, that's a little more of a. Madison's not bad when it comes to round trip. That's a little different to Stillwater. Are they good with it?
It is. It is. But my parents are like, as long as you're happy, we're gonna be happy. Or they're gonna try to make it to as many games as they can.
Yeah.
With my mom working at Rockridge School District still, they've been really understanding with her during softball season, and it's great. I have my parents almost at every single game that I have, and I think they will still try to make it work. My mom is joking. She's like, we're gonna move down there. I'm like, no.
Yeah. Home is there. Home is there. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, my mom's gonna be a little sad not being able to, just drive up on the weekend or meet for dinner sometime in the midweek. But I think again, as I'm happy, they're happy.
Okay, so I kind of teased Taylor Panel because she went to Tennessee and the Southern accent started to come up about a little bit, and then in Texas Tech, and I talked to her before the season, and it was I said y'all a little more than I thought you y'alled when you were at Rock Island. Do you find are we worried? Are you gonna next time I talk to you, gonna be like Southern accent y'all everything? Are you worried about that?
I already roll with the y'all. I love y'all, and hey, hopefully it's warm, it's south, we're good. I will gladly take the accent.
I love it. Kendra, let's jump into I want to go back on the time machine a little bit because you're all making me feel old. I talked to Cannon Burridge at a basketball game on Wednesday night, and I remember covering him, and I'm like, and he's the head coach of Blackhawk College basketball, and he's like, we were in a little promo for the Score. We had him as one of our. I said, Ken, how old are you now? And he said 36, and I said, oh my God, you can't be 36 because you're just supposed to be like 19. So it's the same thing. Let's go back to freshman year, Kendra Lewis, and everybody told me, hey, Rockridge has got this really, really good softball player named Kendra Lewis. And I told her, if I told you back then that 7 years later you could have all those championships, and then you'd play 2 years at Wisconsin, and now you're at Oklahoma State playing softball, what would you have told me? Would you have said no? Would you have said, yeah, let's go? What would that young lady say right now?
Yeah, she would be so incredibly proud of not just what I've done, but what every single team I've been on has accomplished. I mean, I think if you had told freshman me, we're going to state every single year, you're going to go undefeated a couple years, I've been like, psh, girl, that whatever. And now that it's really happened, and again, you talk around with some other college players, and it's just whoa, that was not normal. That was not normal to go, let alone Illinois. Illinois is a competitive state. Every single year to state, you're like, wow, we had something special there. That was a legacy that I will always remember for me. And I hope every single person that I've been on a team with remembers that, and not just how much we won and how all the records we broke. I think just the team in general was just so much fun. Even when we went to state, our silly little trips to Texas Roadhouse, I hope those are the memories that we all still have.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you would have told me I would have gone to Wisconsin and played softball, ever since I played when I was 10, I was like, yeah, I want to do this for a long time, and I want to do it competitively. I'd been like, yeah, you got this. I didn't know how well I was gonna do my freshman year. If you would have told me that, I'd been like, what the heck? Because it was hard. A lot of people don't explain how hard freshman year is because, again, everybody is so good. But yeah, she should be super proud.
Do you the farther you get away from the championships at Rockridge, and you're not old, I'm not trying to make you old, but it's been a little bit. Do you pull out old game footage, or do you guys ever reminisce at all, or you're still too young to be doing that kind of stuff, right?
Sometimes, the Facebook memories pop up and you're like, oh man, that was a lot of fun. The postseason in high school, doing with these girls from a town that we had 360 people or something in high school. You're like, wow, that was something special. And I'm not that old. I don't think I'm not even 20 yet.
You're not.
But so I do sometimes just look back and you just kind of let it set in. You're like, wow.
Yeah. No, obviously you keep in touch with, I mean, you look at it now, just a few years removed, but Peyton had a great year again at Western Illinois, yourself, John's now at obviously Augustana doing great things. He's got some players back there and other girls went to other levels. Do you guys, you ever, like, obviously you stay in touch, but that group, that dynasty, if you will, has made an impact on college softball. It's pretty cool, isn't it?
It is really awesome to see, not just like how the girls have gone and played at softball, but I guarantee they've left an impact everywhere they went. I mean, that's just the Rockridge softball culture that we have. And I think, and I don't have to think I know that they've done that because that's what was instilled in us. Because, I mean, I'm even still catching with Bayla. Bayla's still catching me on pitching lessons and going to pitch to her. And I talk to her and she's like, yeah, like, Illinois State's a lot of fun. Now that she's graduated, it's crazy. I know. I'm like, please don't retire. You need to catch me, please. So,
she'll be catching you forever, right?
She will.
I love it. Kendra, what's the off season look like now? Obviously, you made a big decision. That's done. I want to say you coached a little bit last summer. Is that a thing? Did I get that? That was what does the summer look like? Obviously, you want to continue to work on your craft, and you'll be busy working and all that, working out and all those kind of things. But what's the summer look like? I want to say you take a trip, but weekend you went to Hawaii.
Yeah.
What's the summer look like? What's the off season look like for you?
Yeah, like you said, a lot of workouts, a lot of working on new skills to have. Again, that's another awesome conversation that me and the coaches at Oklahoma State had. Like, this is what we want to see from you, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna work at my hardest to do that. And so that I'm really excited to kind of see how that individualizes to me. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. And like you said, I was a coach last year. I was coaching at Durant in Iowa. It's summer ball for them. I couldn't make a full-time commitment this year with all this craziness in my life. So I still am going to help them whenever I can. So if you see out of Durant at high school, I might be there.
There you go. What was the coaching aspect like? What was that experience for you? Was there times that you called John and said, how did you do this? Or like, obviously there's ups and downs with everything. What was the coaching aspect of things like last year for you?
It was a blast. I loved it so much. The girls is what make it. And again, like they just had so much fun with the game. And I think for me, it really like kind of twisted my gears in my head. Like, wait, I'm not playing. I need to think of it from the other side. So I think that was really helpful, not for me, like to even think about the coaching part of it. And, there's a lot of benefits to it. I went back to school and everybody's like, wow, your barrel control, hitting ground balls is really good. I'm like, I had to, guys. I was the coach.
Yeah.
And it's just like little things like that. I'm like, well, that's good. That helped me and it helped them. So it was really nice. I love to continue to grow the game. So I really, really enjoy doing it. That's why I like to help whenever I can. And it's really cool. It's kind of like a full circle moment. The varsity coach out there is Rich Darnell, and he was my 8-year coach, and he was my hitting coach when I was like 8 all the way up till whenever. And so he reached out to me and he's like, would you like to do this? And I'm like, yeah, like, let's do it. So coaching with him has been really, really interesting.
Yeah. No, I love that. All right, Kendra, before we let you go, I don't know if you did it last time you were on. We're going to do it again. I hope I don't repeat some questions. I always have some dumb questions before we let people go. If you could have dinner with one person in the entire world, dead, alive, whatever you want to do, it's my game. I can let you do whatever. Who would it be and why?
Oh, dang it. This is hard. Now that new Michael Jackson movie's out, I'm going to go with Michael Jackson. How fun.
I like that. That's the first time somebody's answered Michael Jackson, which is funny because I have a 9-year-old that, like, we listen to music in the car and Pandora and all that kind of stuff, or whatever it is now. I think somebody told me the other day I'm old because I still listen to Pandora, so that might be. He loves the Michael Jackson channel, and he loves Michael Jackson. And I'm just like, oh, this is cool, my 9-year-old. So I like that answer a ton. Hey, if you weren't playing softball, but I could let you play whatever sport you want in college, you pick it, we'll make it happen. You go play another sport. What sport would you pick and why?
If I was good at the sport, I would love it.
Good.
I would be a gymnast. I think they're so cool. They're buff and they're in shape. They can do flips. There's no, like, I'd love to be a gymnast. They're so cool.
I love that. That's a good answer too. When you get back to the Quad Cities, where do you have to go eat? You're in Madison. Now you're going to be in Stillwater. What are the Quad City staples that you're like, all right, I'm at home. I got to knock these things out before I get out of here?
Oh, yeah. I think I remember this question last year.
Okay.
Because it's Rockridge native, and I was like, yes. Like, they're so good. If you're in Milan, you have to go to Luli's. They're so good, and their portions are huge. They're so good. And I love Whitey's. Coming back always, I'm like, let's go get Whitey's.
Yeah. No. What's the Whitey's order? Do you have one every time, or
I
do you
get
mix
the
it
red
up?
raspberry. Oh, I get red raspberry almost every time.
I like it. I like it.
Definitely very good.
Well done. Are you superstitious? And if you are, what's the superstitions for you?
I was very, very superstitious throughout my whole entire high school career and a little bit in my freshman year. I'm a little superstitious now, but nothing crazy, I would say. I always do left to right.
Crazy? What was your old crazy?
Oh,
What's
my
the
hair would be the
craziest?
same every single game. And I'd eat the same thing before every single game. I'd eat the same thing. And it always happened to be usually like Duckies. I knew that my high school, that was always Duckies. And yep. And no, this time I think it's usually just left to right. And okay, there was one pretty bad one this year. My batting gloves. Mine were disgusting. They had like this big of holes, like 4 fingers were gone. And I was like, maybe I should switch it. It's time. And I ended up put them on and I struck out. And I was like, no, I only had like 6 strikeouts on the whole entire year. I'm like, they have to go. And as soon as I got rid of them, I was back to normal. So
There
I'm
you
like,
go.
I'm not
That's
changing.
good. Well, I'm glad you kicked the Duckies thing because I didn't want Mom bringing Duckies up to. We wouldn't want her to have to bring Duckies down to Stillwater every single day before a game. That'd be tough. Last but not least, we talked about your improvement, on the softball field, your growth from. Do you realize how much better you've gotten at this than when you were a freshman and we put a microphone in your face? Do you remember those days? And were you nervous? I mean, you're a freshman, or what? Probably we interviewed when you were a freshman, sophomore, and you got better as you went. But what was it like to have 3 TV stations come over with a camera and toss a microphone in your face when you were 14 years old?
That was really crazy. But again, Coach John at Rockridge, he literally before every season, he's like, this is kind of what we got to do, like interviews and stuff. And I will forever say, I'm like, that has kind of helped me a lot. Even just that little bit that we did every single year. I mean, it was definitely really, really nerve wracking a little bit at the beginning of my year. Cause you're like, oh man, I don't want to mess this up. But, as it got, time went on, it's just like, okay, usually what you're looking for, the answers. Again, it's just getting better at softball. You're like, all right, new day.
No,
you know what to do.
You're outstanding. You were outstanding in high school. You're doing even better now. Thank you for taking the time, young lady. Go Cowgirls? Is that what's the saying? Is it guns up or something? No, that's Texas Tech.
It is Go Pokes.
Go Pokes.
Go Pokes, or I like the Cowgirl. This is what we got. That's
okay.
Go Pokes.
All right. I love it. Kendra, I appreciate your time so much. Best of luck at Oklahoma State. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. That is Kendra Lewis, former Wisconsin Badger, now Oklahoma State softball standout, and of course, million-time state champion at Rockridge High School. I think they won everything. Every time they won on the field, they won something. So, such a special group. So, we got a lot more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Thursday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back. For over 65 years, Linquist Ford has proudly served the Quad Cities. And they're just getting started. Looking for a new ride? Check out a healthy mix of new and quality pre-owned vehicles ready for you. Need service? Skip the waiting room. With free pickup and delivery and mobile service, they come to you. No delays, no hassle. From routine maintenance to a full-service collision repair shop, it's fast, friendly, reliable, and always transparent. Linquist Ford, serving the Quad Cities since 1959. Experience the difference today.
This summer, light the fuse on something bigger than fireworks. It's red, white, and you at the John Deere Classic. July 1st through 5th with world-class golf and 4th of July energy you can feel. Wednesday is Youth Day and kids 15 and under get in free with a paid adult. After golf, concerts on the course rocks the weekend. Carrie Underwood, headlines and All-American 4th of July celebration. And Old Dominion closes out Sunday. Stars, Stripes, Summer Tradition. Get tickets now before they're gone at JohnDeereClassic.com.
Hey, I'm the Crawford guy.
Ooh, do you guys always speak at the same time?
Sorry, guys. I'll go first. You know, if you need help with your heating or air conditioning,
or electrical,
or plumbing, Crawford Company can solve your problem.
But what about your problem?
What problem?
Do you not hear yourselves? Take it from me, the Crawford lady.
And me, the Crawford guy.
Crawford is the comfort company.
This summer, light the fuse on something bigger than fireworks. It's red, white, and you at the John Deere Classic. July 1st through 5th with world-class golf and 4th of July energy you can feel. Wednesday is Youth Day and kids 15 and under get in free with a paid adult. After golf, concerts on the course rocks the weekend. Carrie Underwood, headlines, and All-American 4th of July celebration. And Old Dominion closes out Sunday. Stars, stripes, summer tradition. Get tickets now before they're gone at johndeereclassic.com.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. Believe it or not, 2 weeks from right now, we will be playing golf for real. The tournament will be underway out at the John Deere Classic, and I'll be at my new home, my home away, my summer home, if you will. And here's my roommate, Andrew Lehman, joins us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. I'm about ready. I'm coming home. You ready for me?
You know, you're elite. You know, guys that have summer homes are elite.
Right? I guess. I'll take it.
It's a pretty good summer home to have too, by the way.
I can't wait. I stepped out there yesterday. I just got the vibes and the feelings, and it's going to be such a great week of golf. And it's been a good week so far. When you have a Wednesday where you can announce 2 top 50s joining the field of the John Deere Classic, that's a good Wednesday. Ben Griffin yesterday, JT Poston officially putting their names in for the John Deere Classic. And I want to start with JT, Andrew, because you think former champion probably going to come back, but obviously JT's had a fantastic season, and we've talked a lot. It's a very busy time of year. There's no guarantees with anything. Getting JT, especially coming off of a big victory a few weeks ago, it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's the dog days of summer, I guess, on the PGA Tour. You know, it's a busy 5-week stretch. Obviously, U.S. Open starts today. Last signature event is next week in Connecticut. Then you've got us here in America's heartland, and then 2 events over the pond, with one of those being the last major of the year. So, yeah, there's no guarantee, you know, what it's going to look like for a guy's schedule. We've been in touch with JT here for the last couple of months, and, you know, I think as the process goes, you know, I commend him because he was very upfront and honest about, hey, you know, I want to be there. I love the tournament, love the golf course. You just need to see how the schedule shakes out, and you never know how those are going to go. But we touched base with him on Monday after his win at the Memorial, which, by the way, I mean, winning on that golf course is like the equivalent of winning a major. I mean, it's probably the closest thing in terms of, you know, test of golf. And getting him back, obviously, you know, as one of our former champions is certainly fun. And by the way, he's an awesome guy, and he and his caddy are just so down to earth and easy to root for.
Absolutely. You look at JT adding, and then Ben Griffin, a guy who's been here before, a top 50 guy, tons of talent, another nice, you know, marquee name, big, good ranking that adds to a field that's shaping up nicely, Andrew. I hate to give compliments, but it's turning out to be a really nice field once again this year. Talk about Ben, and then we'll get into the field as a whole, because I think from top to bottom, there's a lot to be excited about so far. And we still got a week and a day until this thing officially cuts off.
Yeah, you know, Ben's an awesome person first and foremost, and his story is so unique. You know, where he left the game of golf and got into the investment world. You know, and then he comes back. He's a top 15 player in the world. You know, so he's had success here 2 years ago. Finished T5, was back last year, missed the cut, but. You know, I think anytime you can get 2 guys, you know, with our date here where we are, and 2 guys that are in the top 15 of the world, I'm excited to see the metrics when they come out, when the field closes next Friday at 5 p.m., what it looks like from a strength of field perspective. Obviously, you know, less guys going from 156 to 144, but
I think the top half of our field, is really strong. 29 guys that have won in the last 2 years. And I know we'll talk about this in a little bit, but there is a really great young crop of players that are going to be teeing it up here at the John Deere Classic. And, I'm excited about the future of the game with some of these young guys that are up and coming.
Absolutely, and that's one thing that the John Deere Classic and always has done a great job with. Andrew Lehman joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. You mentioned this field as a whole. You got a lot of former champions. You got a lot of guys that have won recently, which I think is important as well. When you glance at it, here 8 days out of a cutoff or a deadline, your thoughts on where it is? And last year's, Andrew, I know was I think one of the best in decades when it comes to strength of field. This one's getting there too, young man. I mean, it's tough to duplicate, but this one's getting pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, if we want to be as accurate as possible, last year's field was the top ranked field since they started tracking the official World Golf metrics in 1986. So, yeah, last year was awesome. And I think we've seen kind of an ascension here, and I'll give the PGA Tour a lot of credit because obviously we know new changes are on the horizon, and we'll see how that, plays out starting in 2028. But a lot of these changes that they've made the last couple of years have certainly helped in getting players to play maybe a little bit more often. And I just think that by the time it all shakes out, it's going to be interesting to see the numbers comparative to last year, because like I said, the top half of our field, I believe, is stronger. I'm not sure about the bottom half, but it'll be interesting to see the metrics. And I actually asked the question of an agency yesterday, is there any way to track it now? And because I can't wait until we get that data point here in about another week.
No, absolutely. We talked about the future and the exemptions. I want to talk about those. Take us through the exemptions that are coming to the John Deere Classic and guys that we always talk about, but like, go watch them play. When you look at a tee time and you get out to Deere Run, as tens and hundreds of thousands probably will next week. When you look at a tee time list, these are guys you're probably going to want to asterisk, because in 5 years you're going to say, hey, I watched them golf at the John Deere Classic. Take me through some of the exemptions.
Yeah, well, I guess as a reminder, we've gone from 8 to 4. And so we've identified at least the first two. We've got some contingency plans in place for the last two. Two guys that have been really good to us over the years we're protecting. One would be Zach Johnson. The other would be Nick Hardy. And right now, both guys are in the field. So there are contingency plans for if they get into the field on their own number, where we're going to go with it. I've watched them both slide here recently, so we're just kind of waiting to see where it shakes out next week. But yeah, I mean, you look at the two that we've identified, Preston Stout, who's going to go into his senior year at Oklahoma State, recently crowned individual NCAA champion, and now the #1 ranked amateur in the world. And then Mason Howell, who's, by the way, just getting ready to tee off here in the U.S. Open with Scotty Scheffler. Just turned 19 years old, just finished high school, is getting ready to attend the University of Georgia. Phenomenal young man, wins the U.S. Amateur as an 18-year-old high school kid. Pretty impressive. So I think beyond, their abilities on the golf course, what's even more fun is the humans that they are. They're really both awesome young men. And that's the strategy and has been here for decades, going back to Claire and Kim Huffman before that. But not only identifying the next wave of talent, but being able to have relationships with the next wave of talent, because you never know when one of these guys is going to win a major, win multiple PGA Tour events. And you want to be able to rely on the relationship that you've built as they've up and come their way to the PGA Tour.
Andrew, you mentioned some guy named Zach Johnson. Never heard of him. I guess you mentioned I once or twice maybe. I don't want to talk about him coming to the John Deere Classic. I want to quickly talk about what he did last weekend. winning in Des Moines, and obviously he's Iowa's favorite son, if you will. Watching Zach go to Des Moines on the Champions Tour and win in Des Moines, what was that like for you? And we've talked about it so much on this show, and I joke about we don't know who he is. He's somebody that's been integral to the growth of this tournament. Obviously, somebody's going to be teeing it up here in a couple weeks. But your thoughts on watching good old Zach? Is he? I don't want to get. He listens sometimes, so I don't want to get him too. Good old Zach winning in Des Moines was fun, wasn't it?
Well, here's a couple of stories about his win at the principal event in Des Moines. My daughter had state softball last weekend, and I was going to go Saturday. The weather in Des Moines was not good, so I stayed back and didn't go. And then she transitioned on Sunday straight from softball to North Liberty for basketball. And anyway, I had a big honey to-do list that Gina left me. And Ethan and I got wrapped up in the Golf Channel coverage of the Principal Charity Classic and watching Zach win. And so I got in a little bit of trouble. And she can blame Zach for that. I texted him Sunday night. He responded right away. And then he and I actually spoke. What's today? Thursday? Must have been Monday or Tuesday night. I think it was Tuesday. We talked on the phone about a couple of things in relation to our tournament week. And I asked him, I said, hey, what's it look like on the trophy case with the John Deere Classic trophy, the Principal Charity Classic trophy, bookended by obviously a win at Augusta at the Masters.
A little win there.
Yeah, and then one at the other Mecca, St. Andrews, when he won the Open in 2015. So, just unbelievable friend of ours to the tournament. Has been an ambassador for John Deere for many years. Has been someone who serves on our executive board and gives us guidance and counsel. And he asked me on the phone. He goes, "Hey, it's been a little bit since I played a PGA Tour event since I turned 50 in February. Are they still playing 4 rounds and are we still walking?" I said, "Yeah, pal, you're going to have to walk Deere on." He goes, "Well, I better get my steps in now."
I love it. Hey, we had Zach on the show a few weeks ago, and I believe this. I'm a little biased, but he loves Deere Run. He knows that course. He dominates that course. He didn't shoot anything but 60s for like a decade, it felt like. Every single round he went out there and was in the 60s. And he's playing really good golf right now. And he can do good things in 2 weeks. Can he not? I mean, it's not crazy to think that Zach Johnson can win the John Deere Classic in 2026. No pressure, Zach.
No, I mean, I think what he has even talked about is how good his body feels. And, it's important. Obviously the strain that you put yourself through with, the grind of a golf schedule and the demands and all the travel and what goes into it. But, I wouldn't bet against him. I don't get to bet on golf at all, and certainly can't bet on the John Deere Classic, but he's somebody that, I would never rule him out here because he knows this property so well. And I just feel like when he gets here, he's typically pretty relaxed and his head's always in a good space. So
no, absolutely. Andrew Lehman joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Hey, 13 days from right now, there's a Pro-Am out of Deere Run that's got Brett Underwood teeing it up. I know you love your Illini. I'm going to start calling him your Illini right now. My golf tournament this weekend has a bunch of Iowa of representation, but that's just the difference between you and me, Andrew. You're an Illini guy. I'm not. So no, I'm kidding. Also the Savannah Bananas. Kind of talk about that. I know a lot of people are super excited about that. My kids are super excited about that. It's a great way to bridge once again, the game of golf with young people and get people excited about the game of golf in any way possible. And the Savannah Bananas are one of those this year.
Yeah. I mean, I think we identified it probably the day that their schedule came out and Iowa City and Kinnick Stadium were on there. And it was like, okay, that's a priority. We want to have a partnership with them and find a way to incorporate them into our tournament week. So they've been great to work with. We've been dealing with them. I went back and looked. Our conversation with them started, I believe, on like the 6th of November of 2025. So we've had some iterations. Obviously, they're busy selling out 100,000 person football stadiums and playing to packed crowds. But I think, I think what they've accomplished is really, really cool. I'm a baseball purist. I love the game of baseball. And I would never find baseball boring. And I would give MLB a lot of credit for some of the changes they've made. But what the Savannah Bananas have done has been it's been amazing. And it's not just kids, it's people of all ages that are captivated by it. Certainly they bring a ton of fun and flair to every chance they get. And so to have them here to play in the Pro-Am and then weave them into, I hesitate to call it a clinic. It's really not a clinic, but it's more of a youth celebration on the driving range on Wednesday afternoon. To be able to weave them into that, I think is going to be fun. And, it's right there in our mission statement. We're trying to grow the game here through the John Deere Classic. And we do that in a variety of different ways. The concerts have certainly changed the demographic of folks that are attending the John Deere Classic. And then, our partnership with programs like the First Tee of the Quad Cities and different things. And, really trying to make the game of golf. The game of golf can be an intimidating place if you've never been around it. So to bring something that's fun, that's beyond just golf happening on that Wednesday, I think has been a fun concept. And I think having them here has the chance to be, it might not surpass Caitlin Clark being here in 23 in terms of, the reaction to it, but I think it's got a chance to be pretty special and maybe right there with it.
Absolutely. Andrew, before we let you go, what are the next, I don't want to say 13 days look like for you, because you know what Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the JDC probably already booked with a lot of things going on. So what does the next week look like for you? What is next week, this weekend? How busy does it get for you guys, besides getting rid of obviously the goofy Bears helmet that's going to be behind me during the off day with Matt Randazzo? Look at this nonsense. Why would you put a Bears helmet back there? Why would you put a Bears helmet back there? You know better than that.
Yeah, I had it at home. And I knew you were coming back, and I think it's probably a fightable offense, and I would put Pat Anger on that for me if you were to move. And there's a Colts helmet over there for Pat.
There you go.
My second.
But think you're like a lot of Bears fans who just get their stuff out of storage after they got good for 1 year. I understand it. Get the dust off. Anyways, what does next week look like?
You guys have been bad forever.
This week, not the last 3 years. What's this week look like for you before I let you get out of here?
Oh, it's just, finishing touches. It's amazing how much of the plan will change as we come down the stretch. It's 7 days a week. Certainly Mother Nature is playing a part in what goes on. And, our team, we've got 8 absolute rock stars here. I tend to drag them down a little bit. But we've got an amazing team that's focused on, all the X's and O's of what this event is and what it means, understanding the fact that we've got, I guess, not a duty, but a responsibility to continue to carry this forward from, the impact it has on our region and our community and our nonprofits and all the great things that happen as a result of this. And you know what? It's pretty fun along the way. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of sleepless nights. It's stressful. But it's the ultimate reward to know that at the end of the cycle, there's been a massive impact made on this community. And I think that goes hand in hand with our title sponsor in John Deere. They're so civic minded and philanthropic and involved in the community that, for them to trust us with their 180 plus year old brand, those are all things that we never take for granted. And, we're going to put on a great iteration of the 55th playing of the John Deere Classic, and it's going to be a great week here in the Quad Cities, and we expect to see a lot of people out here. Ticket sales have been amazing. I know that we'll be sold out by the time we hit 2 weeks from now on the weekend again. Our July 4th and America 250 extravaganza, if you will, on Saturday prior to Carrie Underwood's going to be fun. And ultimately having her on stage on the 4th of July is pretty significant. And then, the Old Dominion crew bringing us home on Sunday after we crown another world-class champion. So going to be an unbelievable week here in the Quad Cities, and look forward to seeing everybody out here. But I'm I got to go back to work. I'm still trying to get a few more guys into this field.
I love it. Hey, before I let you go, who wins this weekend?
Well, they don't let me bet on golf.
I don't tell you to bet. I'm not betting. I'm just asking for your expert analysis.
Well, Scotty's going for the Grand Slam. That would be a fun story. I wouldn't be shocked to see a Chris Gotterup play well. You better have what?
I have, because I can't bet on college athletics. You can't bet on golf, but I can bet on golf. So
college athletes can't bet on college athletics either.
Allegedly. Chris Gotterup, I have him round one leader today, plus 4,500.
Well, his name was on the front page of the leaderboard here when we started this, and I don't see it up there right now. So he must have made a bogey. But it's obviously, Shinnecock. It's gonna be. You better just have patience and pick your spots, because it's going to be fun on Father's Day to watch it unfold. So happy Father's Day to you, my friend. Have a great weekend. Best of luck with your dad's event. It looks like you're going to have spectacular weather, and I'm happy and proud of you at the same time.
I appreciate you, buddy. Happy Father's Day. We'll be seeing you. I'll be moving in here real soon. Thanks, buddy. We'll talk soon.
You touch that Bears helmet, though. I'm coming for you.
See you, pal. That is Andrew Lehman on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, the John Deere Classic. I mean, it's crazy. It's less than 2 weeks away. 2 weeks from today. I know that. I always got confused at the station because it was always, the countdown to the week that starts it, and then the actual tournament itself starts on Thursday. But like 2 weeks from right now, we will be in the middle of the first round of the John Deere Classic. So really cool stuff. We got more to get to. This is OTA on a Thursday. We'll be right back.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. Boy, that Snoop's has me hungry. I actually went and visited Snoop yesterday, and of course I walked out of there with some chips and salsa. So couple commercial breaks. I've been sneaking downstairs and having some. Of course, chips and salsa from Snoop will be on full display at the Guy Randazzo Memorial Golf Outing coming up on Saturday. We give them out on the course on hole 7, the tee box, and then of course he caters an amazing Mexican dinner after the event. So we do have a couple spots still available. So if you'd like to hop in, I'm texting somebody and talking to text and everything just went down there. That's awesome. Anyways, if you're interested in golfing, head to GuyRandazzoGolf.com and sneak in at the very end and join us. We should have a fun time coming up on Saturday, that is for sure. Also, I want to thank our guests for being on the show today. Kyle Huesmann with a little breaking news at the start. Again, it's Iowa and Alabama playing basketball in Des Moines on December 21st. They'll do a game in Mobile. I think it's Mobile. Mobile, Alabama, coming up next year as well. So we talked to Kyle about that, then a bunch of women's basketball content as well. Always great to catch up with Kendra Lewis, former Rockridge state champion and standout. Played her first 2 years at Wisconsin and is transferring to Oklahoma State. Really excited about that. So great conversation with her. And then, of course, Andrew Lehman. Man, oh man, the John Deere Classic is right around the corner. It'll be here. As we mentioned, 2 weeks from right now, we'll be at the Stonehouse doing the show from the John Deere Classic. Really excited about that as well. Also, I do want to mention that it is Father's Day weekend. So all the dads out there, happy Father's Day. Kids, anybody watching that, be good to your dads. Sounds like a rainy Father's Day, which I know is probably disappointing to some, but there is something about a rainy Sunday in which you're forced to watch the U.S. Open and what should be a great U.S. Open and maybe hang out with family. Not a bad way to spend a Father's Day as well. So happy Father's Day to all the dads out there as well. Enjoy your Father's Day weekend. If you have a chance, go check out the shows from this week as well. 3 really fun shows that we got you and gave you. And excited to do it again next week as well. So a lot more to get to next week. And then the week after that, John Deere Classic is here. So we'll be entrenched in the John Deere Classic. We'll do a bunch of shows in July. And then towards the end of July, I'm going to go on vacation. But then after that, football season's back, baby. So it's going to be a quick run through the summer, and we'll be back talking football once again. So thank you guys once again for joining us. We appreciate it. We will see you guys back here on Monday. Again, no show tomorrow. GuyRandazzoGolf.com. Go sign up if you got a team. We can sneak in at the last minute. Got two teams available right now. And then also check out the silent auction. A ton of great stuff on the silent auction as well. We'll see you guys back here on Monday.